We salute a notable father figure in the chronicles of our nation, a leader who strove so hard and accomplished so much for this country.
Kenya woke up to sad news on Friday, April 22nd. A man they consider an architect of change died on Thursday, 21st April. Emilio Stanley Mwai Kibaki, who served as president of the country from 2003 to 2013, passed on aged 90. As the third president of Kenya, Mwai Kibaki is remembered for ushering in economic reforms and a new constitution. Between 2003 and December 2012, Kibaki grew the size of the Kenyan economy from just over 1 trillion Kenyan shillings to 6.4 trillion Kenyan shillings, to leave behind an economy 5 times larger than that he found when taking office. He was also seen to struggle to tackle widespread corruption during his tenure.
His contributions in the Ministry of Finance and as Vice President saw Kenya's economy grow steadily.
Messages of condolences began streaming in from leaders across the country the minute President Kenyatta announced Kibaki's death in a public address, many coming from leaders who served during his tenure. While Kibaki is credited with reviving Kenya's economy, his tenure was marred by deadly violence that killed more than 1,000 Kenyans following his disputed re-election in December 2007. Kibaki had been seen to try bring peace to regional hotspots.
Hapana dharau binadamu mwenzako. Kwa sababu ulikuta yeye alikuwa ameamini kitu moja, alikuwa na wewe umeamini ingine. Kama mambo imeshaleta nyinyi pamoja, sasa tuungane.
He still stands as one of Kenya's longest-serving parliamentarians, and by the time of his retirement from State House in 2013, he had served 50 years in Parliament. During this time, he served as a Member of Parliament, Minister, Vice President, Leader of Government Business, Leader of Official Opposition, and President. But Kibaki is said to have failed to tackle endemic graft, which remains a great issue for Kenyans. Kibaki was born on November 15, 1931, the youngest of 8 children living in Gatuyaini, Nyeri. His intelligence was quite notable over the years, and in 1947 this became evident when he qualified to study at the prestigious Mangu High School. His star continued to rise in academic circles after he was awarded a scholarship to Uganda's renowned Makerere University in 1951, where he pursued a Bachelor of Arts degree in economics, history, and political science. It is there that he also served as the vice chair of the Makerere Students' Guild between 1954 and 1955. He also attended the London School of Economics in the 1950s. Kibaki later worked at Makerere University as an assistant lecturer in the Department of Economics from 1958 to 1960. And in 1960, he joined the Kenya African National Union KANU party. His political career was on an upward trajectory, and further in 1965, he was appointed Minister of Commerce and Industry and later served as the Minister of Finance between 1969 and 1982. Kibaki was then appointed Vice President when Daniel Arap Moi rose to the presidency upon the death of Jomo Kenyatta in 1978. The Thika Superhighway and the Vision 2030 is some of the outstanding projects highlighted by many observers of the Kibaki administration. However, for some, the provision of free primary education is his biggest milestone. In late President Mwai's cabinet, he was initially entrusted with the finance portfolio, but increasingly found himself at odds with the president, and in 1988 was replaced as the vice president and transferred to the Ministry of Health with no reason given. With the law now allowing multi-party politics, Kibaki resigned his membership in KANU in 1991 to form the Democratic Party. Later, in 1992 and 1997, he challenged incumbent President Moi at the ballot, and both times he lost. In 1998, he became the official head of the opposition, and in September 2002, he joined prominent politicians including Raila Odinga, Charity Ngilu, and Michael Wamalwa in forming the National Rainbow Coalition, NAC, a multi-party alliance that nominated Kibaki as its presidential candidate. A few weeks before the election, Kibaki was involved in a car accident and suffered major injuries. He continued his campaign and was fortunate to defeat now Kenya's President Uhuru Kenyatta.
There will be challenges along the way, but it is important that we look forward with renewed optimism to better days ahead.
Kibaki finally won the presidency after 4 decades as lawmaker, government minister, and then vice president to his predecessor Daniel Arap Moi.
Makofi tena sasa, makofi kabisa, tukaribishi. Karibu kabisa.
In parliamentary elections, NAC rooted the ruling KANU party, which had dominated Kenya since the country's independence. Significant economic changes were implemented by Kibaki during his term as president. However, the endemic corruption that he had promised to fight during his election campaign remained rampant.
Tukitoka hapa, tukumbuke haijapita. Tunajua tunataka kuipitisha, lakini haijapita. Kwa hivyo sisi wenyewe tukitoka hapa tuwe tumeshaamua kwamba tutaipigania mpaka tuipate katiba hii mpya.
A new constitution backed by Kibaki was finally put to referendum in November 2005, but it was rejected by voters. The rejection was viewed by many as a public indictment of Kibaki's administration. Before the dust had settled on the referendum laws, Kibaki was confronted by the reality of an election loss in the upcoming 2007 election. He quickly formed a new coalition, the Party of National Unity, PNU, with his strongest challenger being the Orange Democratic Movement, ODM, led by Raila Odinga and his Pentagon. After a delay in the release of the final election results, Kibaki was declared the winner in controversial circumstances, narrowly defeating Raila Odinga of ODM. Odinga and his allies immediately disputed the outcome, with international observers questioning the validity of the final results. Widespread protests ensued throughout the country and degenerated into horrific acts of violence, which eventually led to the loss of life of more than 1,000 people and more than 600,000 were displaced in the election's violent aftermath. Efforts to resolve the political impasse between Kibaki and Odinga were not immediately successful, and so later, former UN Secretary General Kofi Annan arrived in Kenya about a month after the election and brought the two sides to the negotiating table. 2 years later, a new constitution was approved and promulgated on the 27th of August 2010.
May the new constitutional dispensation be our shield and defender as we strive to conquer poverty, disease, and ignorance.
Leaders across Africa and the globe continue to celebrate the memory and work of Mwai Kibaki, with notable messages highlighting his exemplary leadership. On April 6, 2013, Kibaki handed over to President-elect Uhuru Kenyatta and Deputy President William Ruto. Kibaki was married to Lucy Muthoni from 1961 until her death in 2016 at the age of 80 years. They had 4 children, namely Judy Wanjiku, Jimmy Kibaki, David Kagai, and Tony Githinji, and numerous grandchildren. In 2004, there were media reports that Kibaki had a second spouse, whom he allegedly married under customary law, Mary Wambui, and a daughter, Wangoi Mwai. The State House, in response, released an unsigned statement that Kibaki's only immediate family at the time was his then wife, Lucy, and their 4 children. On August 21, 2016, Kibaki was taken to Karen Hospital for treatment and later flown to South Africa for specialized treatment.
Basi asanteni sana. Mgoje tu dakika mbili alafu twende nyumbani.
Kibaki is a leader that is celebrated the world over, and his memory, work and zeal for a new Kenya will remain in the memories of many. President Kenyatta has ordered a period of national mourning until sunset on the day Kibaki is to be buried, with all flags to be flown at half-mast.
The late former president's central role in shepherding Kenya into a new constitutional dispensation at the culmination of a decade-long quest is a towering legacy that immortalizes President Kibaki.
Wangapi mnasema hivyo? Harambee! Harambee!